Okay guys, so now we're installing the fuel tank, and again, because I stuck my hardware back in its original place, I have no issues in locating it. So I'll take my long bolt out and my two nuts. I'm going to use the nut driver to install all that. Now, you got to remember, we got two lines going to the fuel tank. One we have for the vent, and that's for venting any sort of fumes from the gasoline itself, and it vents into the intake, and that way it gets sucked up on the vacuum and burned. And then we have the fuel line. If you come down here, there's this fuel line all the way down here, and there it is there. And you got to make sure that it's really, that comes from the carburetor. And there's the clamp, and there's a squeeze side clamp, and I got my duckbill pliers to squeeze my my clamp in place there. Okay, that fuel line's got to go here. Okay, so we got to be careful with that, and we got to make sure it goes in there properly. It slides in. Make sure it's seated all the way down, all the way up there. It is a little bit of a struggle, but we'll get it. I'm going to feed it up here first, so it's seated properly. And then I take my clamp. It's got to be seated a little bit better now. Clamps not perfect. Okay, I'm going to get another pair of pliers and help push it up at the same time. All right, you want to hold this? Okay. Hold it down. All right, so I got a pair of pliers on my clamp. I'm going to squeeze it, and I got a pair of pliers. Push the fuel tank towards the fuel line. There we go. That's a two-man job there. You can see it's seated all the way up, and it's got my clamp on there. Then we got to stick the studs in the back here. We got to make sure the studs go in properly. It might give you a little bit of a, it might fight you a little bit. There's one. Maybe a little bit longer. All right. Just make sure my fuel line is still on. We had one student group that the fuel line popped off while manhandling it in place there. Okay, so we got that in line. All right, so now I'm going to take my long bolt. I'm going to thread it in the appropriate hole over here. There's only one hole left in the engine. Okay, that one bare hole. I'm going to stick my bolt in there. Oh, looks like I need an extension. All right, I'll thread that in there. I'll get myself an extension. Okay, so I'm going to put the extension on there, my socket, my nut driver. Place it in this way like so. And make sure it catches properly. Make sure it goes in smoothly. There we go. It's going in. And you can go ahead and tighten that one right down. Okay, I'm going to take my nut driver extension off. Just put the different size socket. Put my nuts on the back side. Okay, my nut driver here. It's light pressure here. I don't need anything crazy. Remember, these engines are not going to be run for a long period of time, guys. They're going to run for 5-10 minutes, just enough to waste a little bit of fuel. Generally put about 200 milliliters of fuel in there, which we're going to do in a minute. And then once the fuel is finished, then we put the engines away. Okay, make sure none of the wires are kinked. Lots of space there. We're going to double check that our fuel line's okay. Now, we're also going to route this venting right through there. And you get the extra hose for protection from vibration. Keeps it snug. Slide that in place. Okay, and again I got my duckbill pliers for my clamp. Slide that in there. Now these type of clamps, they're spring-loaded clamps. They're reusable for this project. Okay, that's good. So that's in place. You have your teacher inspect the fuel line, you have your teacher inspect the bolts, all bolting everything down, and the next step is to add engine oil.